Okay, a checkbook register is a small booklet that you get when you open up a checking account, right? All right. The purpose of the book is to record all the transactions on your account. Now, I have given you a handout that contains the following images. And the very first slide of the handout, you're going to see this. This is just a snapshot of what the check register looks like. And for reference today, I've put numbers across the top of each of the columns. And then the following pages in your handout are just the descriptions of what the columns are for. Now, remember, this isn't brain surgery, okay? No one took the time to outline what each of the columns were to me. I could figure them out, all right? Literally just by the title of the column. So I think you guys can do that as well. Just my encouragement to you, though, is, yeah, since it's new, let's go over that. You now have a handout in front of you. Follow along with us. But if you ever separate that handout, don't have from your notes, you don't have it, or years from now you're doing your first check register, you guys can figure it out literally the same way I did, all right? But check register is very simply columns and rows. That's all it is columns and rows for you to keep track of all your transactions, okay? So let's talk about the very first column, all right? The very first column, surprisingly, tends to be one of the more challenging ones for students, okay? It is the number or code column. It's the number or code column. This is where you're going to indicate the check number that you are writing to somebody or a code for the type of transaction, all right? But let's talk about the check number. Where would you find the check number? On the check itself. Where is it? And where would you find it? If this is a check, where would it be?
The bottom.
You can find it at the bottom. It's the last set of numbers, but it's also in the upper right-hand corner as well, okay? So if you're writing a check 100 to somebody, what would you write in the number or code column? 100, okay? However, as you guys know, there are a heck of a lot more transactions than just writing checks that could occur on your checking account. Remember, the register is to record all the transactions, not just the checks that you've written or just the deposits that you're putting in, all right? So that's what we mean when we say code, okay? Now, in this box to the right, you're going to see some examples of codes. I have A for ATM, C for cash withdrawal, D for deposit, etc. This is by no means an all-encompassing list of all the transactions that could potentially occur. In fact, you're going to see on the worksheets and on the quiz coming up, I throw a curveball out to you. I give you a different type of transaction that I don't even give you a code for. And the reason for that is this is yours. Who sees this?
You.
You do. Does anyone care what code you use? So really, who should determine what the code should be? You should, all right? So I am extremely flexible. If you don't want to adhere to the code suggestions I have provided you, fine. You want to come up with your own? Great. But what I do require is that you write down the check number, if it's a check, or you come up with a code system of your own, and as long as you're using a code and you're using it consistently for all the same types of transactions, we're fine. Okay? Any questions on number or code column? Okay, a little bit faster now. Number 2 is the date. Don't care about the year, just the month and the day is sufficient. Okay? The description, that's that long column there, and you're going to see that, again, this is for you, but the more detailed you are in that row, the better. Okay? So instead of just writing electric bill, you might want to say March electric bill. Instead of just writing the word lunch, you might want to say Chipotle lunch with Jamie. Something like that, because I'm telling you, after a while, you're going to forget what lunch meant. And you're probably going to reference your register somewhere 20, sometimes 40 days later. And lunch to you may not resonate to you at that time, okay? So I just learned through trial and error that the more detailed I am, the better. But again, up to you. This is your register, okay? Column number 4 is the deduction column. Now, strangely, students really struggle with this. They see the word payment and they think that that's a money that they're getting. So sometimes they get confused. So what I want you to do is go back to this top page and right above column 4 where it says payments, I'd like you to put a minus sign, okay? Indicating that these are subtractions from your account or money going out of your account, okay? So right above column number 4, I suggest that you put a little minus sign, just as a reminder that this is money going out, okay? So this is any money leaving your account, all right? Number 5 is the check mark column. Completely skip it. Completely skip it. We're going to use that column, you'll see, when we balance our checkbook, and so that'll make sense to you very soon. But we're going to skip that. We're going to use that later. Column 6 is the fee column. Okay, this is the fee column. This is for transactions that have a fee. All right, so let's go back and look at some of these transactions, and you tell me what type of transaction might have a fee on the board. ATM may have a fee, all right? Anyone else? Yeah.
Cash withdrawal.
Maybe cash withdrawal, you never know. Debit card, there are many. It all depends. Transfers could have a fee. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you right now, this is how this may look. Let's say you took cash from an ATM for $40. Okay? And notice, just like with a deposit slip, it has a nice little thin line for you to help you separate dollars and cents. Okay? Now there's a $5 fee for taking out the money out of the ATM. Remember how we talked about third-party ATM fees, and you punch in your code and you request the money, and then a warning screen comes up and says there'll be a $5 fee for this transaction. Do you want to continue? That is your third-party ATM fee. Well, you know what that fee is. That can go right here. All right? So it's $40 for the ATM cash, $5 for the fee. Now, I'm going to give you some liberty here. Another way to write this would be like this. And just add them together. Okay? Is this incorrect?
No.
No. All right? In other words, I just took the fee and put it here. I will confess to you, I like this better. I don't like to have anything in the fee column because it just confuses me. I just want to look at one column and do all my deductions from there. However, I do know of some people that do like to have the fee columns here because it's a great way to track how much in fees you're being charged. I have one friend in particular who was banking at a particular bank recently and started tracking the fees and was appalled when she discovered she's spending about $35 a month just in minuscule fees every month. So this might be a great way to start tracking the fees coming from your bank. Okay? Or maybe you want to check and see, man, how much money am I wasting by going to a third-party ATM all the time? Okay? All right, so that's what the fee column is for. Moving on to column number 7. Column number 7 is your deposit column. All right? That's column number 7. That's all the money going into your account. That's the good stuff, right? So what I want you to do is go back to here, right above column number 7, and put a little plus sign on your handout. So that's just a little reminder for you to remember that that's money being added to your account that you should add to your running balance. Okay? Last one before we go through an example. This is probably the most important column of them all. We did all this work for the running balance column. The running balance on the far right is the accurate balance of what is left in your account. Okay? So this is where you're going to keep a tally of all the money that's left remaining in your checking account at that time. Okay? All right. As far as where we're going next. We're going to go through an example on the board. And there is a, right next to you, John, on your desk. Do you see that on the wall? There should be there is the motion detector. That's what that is. Okay. All right. Thank you. What you're going to see, I'm going to point to something on the board, and I'd like you to tell me what happened. Someone give me a name. Sadie?
Cece. No, I prefer Sadie.
Sadie Lane. Okay, Sadie Lane. By the way, I'm filming. Okay, Sadie Lane. All right, Sadie Lane. I'm going to point to Cece. Sadie, what did Sadie do first? I'm going to call on one of you, and then we're going to go over what each of the transactions were. Okay? So if I were to call on you, this is exactly what you would do. You would say, Sadie deposited money on February 20th when she opened her account and she deposited $200. And then we carried that $200 over to our running balance column. Okay? All right. Who would like to volunteer and tell us what Sadie did next? John, what did Sadie do next?
She wrote a check.
She wrote a check. What check number?
105.
On what day?
February 26th.
To?
For the coffee mart. It was $19.75.
Okay. In this example, we're carrying over the 1975. So we can do longhand subtraction and get 180.25. I'm going to tell you right now, I do not care if you carry over the 1975. Remember, this is your document. You do with as you will. Some of you guys will like carrying it over so you can do that longhand division or subtraction and addition. Some of you guys would rather not have it. The only thing I am looking for are these totals that I have circled. All right? I will tell you though, carrying it over sometimes is very handy because you're often filling this out at a cash register in line or maybe even in your car when you're waiting for the drive-thru, etc., etc. So sometimes this can come in handy that way you don't have to get your calculator out. You can just do longhand, old-fashioned addition, subtraction. All right? But if you don't have it on there, I'm not going to mark you wrong. But I do encourage you, despite whether you carry it over or not, please skip every other line. All right? This is not the place to save a tree. All right? It just becomes so handy when you skip every other line, especially when you go to balance your checkbook. Okay? All right, so Sadie Lane went to coffee, drank a lot of coffee at Coffee Mart. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was going to volunteer.
Cece is going to do Sadie Lane for the next transaction. What did she do?
On 3/12, she went to the ATM and took out $100.
She went to the ATM and took out $100. Good. Leaving her
$80.25.
$80.25. Oop. There we go. $80.25. Okay. Sadie Lane then went where? What'd she do next? Okay. Bats, what'd she do next?
Deposited $30 into her account in March.
She deposited $30 into her account, giving her $110.25. $110.25. All right, Stephen. What did Sadie do then?
She deposited $50.
Yep, the very next day she deposited $50 into her account, giving her $160.25. But did she? Did she, Drew? Did she really? Okay, what happened next with Sadie?
She got cash back.
She actually had some money, right, taken out. When she went to deposit that, her less cash received, you guys saw on your deposit slip, she took $25 out. And she chose to record it this way, the two different transactions indicated on our checkbook register. Now, what would be another way that Sadie could have done this and done it only with one transaction recorded on her register? Yeah.
But you still have the 50 on for the deposit. But she could have also put the 25 deduction.
Yeah, she could have put it
So,
here,
25.
25, then 50. She could have done that, I suppose. What's another way?
Just for, deposit $25.
She could have just written deposited 25 in general and just left it at that. Here's my point though. Why would she do it this way? What's the benefit?
She knows where the money is actually going, like at each time.
Correct. She has a record of how much cash she took. All right? We all know that sometimes we have money in our wallet that just is gone. All right? So this is a nice reference for her, okay? As to how much money she had. All right? But then what happened with Sadie? Last transaction.
She got 50.
Tyler, what happened with Sadie?
Got a fee
She got a fee on
of
the 18th for
$18.
$2, leaving her $133.25. Now, what's wrong here? Does someone see something wrong with this register? Yeah,
Chronological order.
it's out of chronological order, all right? I ask you, what happened here? 318? 318 should have been up here. What happened?
She didn't realize she got the fee until after.
Sadie did not realize she was assessed a $2 fee until March 24th, 25th, who knows, all right? She caught it and then added it to her register, which is good. If you catch things that happen, you're like, oh, whoops, add it to your register. Nothing happened here. She didn't bounce any checks, thankfully. But I ask you if it should have gone right here, all right? On 317, Sadie thought that she had $80.25, okay? Right? But did she really?
No, she had 78.
If she were to walk in on the 17th to Abercrombie and wanted to buy an $80 outfit, and she gets on her smartphone, would she think she had the money? Yeah, she would have bought it, no problem. The very next day, a fee would have been assessed, and she would have bounced that amount, okay? You are seeing the number one reason why most of you will bounce your very first check. It's because you don't know what the amount of the fee and when it's being assessed to you. So I'm going to encourage you right now to ask your bank when you open up your checking accounts what fee is going to be assessed, what the amount is, and when. Do not assume it's going to be the first or the last day of the month. It's usually not. All right? And just remember that and start recording it. Okay? The next thing we are going to do is talk about the next page. All right? So let's pretend that we are, this represents a whole page in your checkbook register. We're flipping the page now. We're going into our next page. What is the number I need to write in the very top right corner of my register? What is that amount? You have to write the $133.25 up here just so you can keep going, all right? Remember, this is a booklet, all right? And it's not a long-running sheet, but think of it that way. It's supposed to be a long-running spreadsheet for you. So you want to make sure you take the $133.25 and put that at the very top, okay? Questions? Here's how we're going to proceed. I'm going to give you the following worksheet to do independently, okay? You are not going to receive a grade for this. You're going to work on this today, all right? Then we, as a class, are going to go over the answers, okay? Then tomorrow, you're going to get a quiz on this, all right? So I'm going to hand out this worksheet to you. I'm going to keep this example projected on the board for you, all right? And you can reference this and your handout to complete this work, all right? I encourage you to not collaborate with anyone else. You're here to see what you know and don't know. I will be traveling around to answer any questions, okay?